Hi guys! Well, it's the second month of Promptsquad, and I think it's fair to say that this was a pretty difficult prompt. And yet you guys really went all out, and I'm really impressed by your responses. So the prompt for this month was suggested by Kai, and it was an astronaut riding a cow in Victorian London. Our last video, a few of you suggested that I talk a little bit about your entries, so here we go. Starting with Emily's piece. Now Emily created a beautiful painting this month, which she always does, and what I love most about her style is how she uses watercolours almost like inks. Her colours are always really striking, and by using lots of water when she paints, she really takes advantage of the paint spreading out, and it produces these really natural patterns that give this effect, especially in this piece of galaxies and space. I especially love how this piece feels like the astronaut's imagination is drifting out into the ether, and I just think it's a wonderful illustration. Now Dave, as always, has brought the humour, as you'll know if you used to watch drawing requests. Honestly, how he approached this prompt and thought, this is not complicated enough, I will never know. But I think he does a great job of representing Victorian London in a more human way. And it's kind of like a scene out of Oliver Twist to me. I think his take to me feels the most like a Lost and Far Side comic, and I just love that idea. And Nadia really pushed the boat out with her piece, and I really love the concept and execution of her response. By drawing onto an atlas and then using perspective, it really feels like the astronaut on Cowback? Is that the saying? Is coming out of the map, and by using pens to highlight the drawing rather than blocking out all the characters, she's really been able to retain the texture of the map that's behind whilst adding shading, and I think that really works really well, that technique. And lastly, Kai, the perpetrator of this prompt. Of course he created a wonderful piece, but what I found most interesting was seeing him branch into a more cartoony style for the prompt. He's still bringing in his clean rendering that he shows in his character art with the glow of the moon and the reflection in the cow's eyes. And yeah, those are some beautiful eyes. But there's a lot of humour and character building in this piece too, and there feels like a real story behind this illustration, which I really enjoyed. And that was this month's Promptsquad. I just want to say thank you to everyone who took part and suggested future prompts too. I know I'm repeating myself a bit, but I'm really slightly overwhelmed by the quality and effort that you guys are putting into this challenge. And if you're watching and would like to take part, next month's prompt will be announced at the end of this video. Okay, now I'm starting to dread showing what I did for this month's prompt. I really felt a little bit lost when it came to this prompt. My first thought was to just illustrate it as a scene, and I kind of did that, but at the same time I've been really wanting to practice painting without line art and instead focus more on light and shade to render a piece. So, I mean, this is becoming a bit of a trend, but I went digital this month, and initially I sketched out a rough perspective of London. That's kind of Big Ben there. I've been there a few times to London, but I've never really gone to see Big Ben, which maybe this painting shows. So when I was blocking out the main colours, I felt pretty confident when it came to the buildings, because they are really simple shapes. But as you'll see when I come to the Astro Cow, as I've titled this piece in my head, that theory kind of went out the window. I didn't go with an artist or art period for this prompt, and I'm really sorry to admit, but I don't think I'm going to be doing it in the future pieces either. It's annoying because in the build up to this piece, I do research artists and time periods, and I like to make little notes because one of my favourite things to do is read about art history. But when I was plotting out this piece, I just kind of thought this series concept is getting a little overcomplicated. I think if I'm honest with myself, I really want to make two different series, and because of time restraints, I'm trying to push them both into one series, and I'm worried that's just going to end up ruining both ideas. What I think I want to do is this Promptsquad series that we're watching now that focuses on building and maintaining a fun art community where you can meet some new artists and keep up with old friends that you've made through the art that you're creating. Because that's what's kept me on YouTube making videos, and it gives it value to me, and I hope that it would give value to other people too. And at the same time, I kind of wanted to do a series where I talk about art history and it's not boring. Something fun that would give you a look into different art styles and artists without some of the pomp and segregatory language that I feel a lot of art critique has. But doing that within this series to me feels like I'm kind of pushing everyone to show their own personal style and to celebrate that. And then my prompt response is a lecture, and it's just jarring to me, and I'm really not sure going forward whether it's a good idea to continue that. And if it wouldn't make more sense to maybe go with a personal style for this series and maybe try and make more effort to do a second series at some point. I'd like to know your thoughts on this really going forward. I'm kind of unsure and still open to it, so I'd like to hear your thoughts. It's silly as well, because I do such a weird style for this prompt. I think in the end you're going to think I was trying to copy an artist, but it was more just me messing about and just trying to practice how to render. So yeah, I kept with natural brushes for this digital painting that I made in my last video, and I was trying to get this thick acrylic, almost oil paint look to this painting. And I used a lot of textures and just tried to build it up and make the scene as striking as possible. I feel like it's a bit, step in time, Mary Poppins on the rooftop with a chimney sweep, Yol Bamboo, which really kind of shows what I obviously think Victorian London looks like. So yeah, that was this month's Prompt Squad, and I really hope you enjoyed it. For next month, the prompt is Paint a Song, which was suggested by M's Art Studio here on YouTube. All links to everyone, by the way, will be in the description. Now, I love this idea, and I really think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how varied everyone's responses will be. So if you're interested in joining in, the deadline is going to be the 18th of February, as that's the Monday where the next video will come out. Obviously, it helps me out if you can get it done earlier than that, but don't worry if it takes you a bit of a time. Now, if you have an idea for a prompt for future Prompt Squads, please make sure to leave a comment below, and thank you all again for taking part and for commenting and watching and just being part of Prompt Squad. And I really hope that you'll join us next month for the next episode of Prompt Squad. See you then.